On today's show, the Hawks are now 3-0 in Las Vegas. We'll get into all of what transpired on Monday, plus a murmur about Al Horford in Atlanta. We'll get into all of that and more coming up.
You are Locked On Hawks, your daily Atlanta Hawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2022 of the Locked On Hawks podcast. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Monday evening into Tuesday here in mid-July. And today's podcast is brought to you by the folks at FanDuel Sportsbook. And right now, if you're a new customer, get $150 in terms of dollars in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins at FanDuel. I also want to encourage you at the top of the show, as I always do, to make us your first listen each and every day here at Locked On Hawks. Check us out and subscribe to the show anywhere you find your podcasts. That includes Apple and Spotify. We are also on YouTube, so please like this video as you are watching it. And of course, tell your friends and your colleagues, family, etc. about this podcast. At the top, I will also note this is the 9th anniversary of this podcast. I launched this show on July 14th, 2016, right in the middle of Summer League, just as this is 9 years ago. So 2,000 plus episodes later, still going strong. And I want to just shout out everybody that's been joining us at any point, really, but especially from the beginning. That's some sicko stuff. I very much appreciate it. But thanks to everyone for listening and watching. If you were not listening and watching, this show would not exist. So I very much appreciate it. And let's do 9 more years or more together. But I definitely want to shout everybody out at the top of the show. From there, we'll dive in now to a pretty interesting game, honestly. It was Summer League in Summer League form. It was madness. It was the first game of the day. It was lightly attended early on. It filled up as the game went along. There were highs. There were lows. Everything in between. At the end of the show, by the way, a little bit of a murmur about Al Horford that I'll discuss in the last segment. But for the most part, Summer League focused on this episode. We'll kind of go through my overall takeaways from the game, as well as my player-by-player stuff through the game as well. It was definitely a mixed bag. The Hawks were actually buoyed by some unlikely sources in this game, in particular Jack McVeigh, who had 21 points and was plus 19 off the bench for the veteran Australian forward. Kobe Bufkin had a rough night in some aspects, also was very good in the second half of this game, ended up leading the team in score with 25 points. Good balance for the Hawks. They had 7 guys with 8 points or more in this one. A lot of guys played well. There was one injury that was unfortunate. Jacob Toppin, who's been probably the Hawks' best player, honestly, at least in a present day sense this week. He left the game with a left hip injury and did not return in the third quarter. But we'll get through all of it. But it was certainly an interesting game. It was one that has some encouraging stuff, I think. If you want to be pessimistic, I'm sure you can find some reasons to do that. But it was entertaining, and it was a Monday afternoon Summer League game. And I encourage everyone not to ever take this stuff terribly seriously. It matters for sure, but it also is like life and death, and that should be treated as much. But some stuff to talk about for sure. So as for the game, game flow-wise, it was a sloppy start for the Hawks. They had 4 turnovers right away. They gave up 21 free throw attempts in the first half. It was pretty rough. The attention to detail stuff in the first half was not particularly solid for Atlanta, which Brian Bailey acknowledged, the Summer League head coach and Hawks assistant. He did praise the team for their resilience after that, which I certainly would echo and agree with. That's been a theme throughout this week and even last season. Organizationally, the Hawks do pride themselves on being resilient and bouncing back and never kind of rolling over. And that was the case in this one. I thought Durisic did a good job in the first half, creating some advantages off the dribble. That was a theme throughout the game for him. McVeigh was firing on all cylinders, honestly. He was on a 2-way last year with the Rockets. Brian Bailey kind of laughingly referred to it as a revenge game for McVeigh playing as his old team, but he was definitely juiced up and making shots, which was helpful. We got to see Javen Johnson, the other guy who has not played for the Hawks so far in Summer League. He was the first guy and the last guy, I should say, to appear who had not played yet, who was healthy for Atlanta. He actually ended up playing 17 minutes off the bench, in part because of Toppin's injury. Looked fine, honestly. It was a pretty quiet first half for Newell. He was better and more active in the second half, I thought, but certainly looked fine. Newell and Bufkin combined for 9 fouls in the first half, which is part of why Houston had so many free throw attempts. Bufkin, after the game, was asked about this by I think by me, actually. Just basically said he was a little bit either overzealous or maybe a half step late a few times, and he was taking responsibility for the fouls. Newell kind of had the similar thing, he was kind of undersized at different times, understrong at different times, and was just kind of a half tick late. And look, not an excuse, just the reality. Having been out here and not playing basketball, it is very hard to play 3 games in 4 days, including a back-to-back, especially when they're all at an odd time. These guys are used to playing games at night, and they're all playing at 12:30, 1 o'clock local time, 3 out of 4 days, including a back-to-back. Like, guys were gassed. You can definitely see that, both in their body language and also just after the game, they were admitting it. Like, everybody was tired after this one. I thought Nell Jr. Joseph was actually pretty good in this game, and in the first half in particular. I spent part of the first half sitting with my old friend Glenn Willis of ATL on 29, who also previewed Summer League with me on the show last week. And we had just been talking about how he'd be really nice to have in College Park as a developmental piece. He's a very good physical defender, etc. And then my old friend Kevin Chenard of Hawks.com shared the same sentiment on Twitter, unbeknownst to him or us, which was kind of funny. I am a fan of Junior Joseph. He looks like an NBA adjacent player, certainly a G League level player right now that could be better and better. It has the physical tools to be interesting. Again, I mentioned before, but Toppin kind of pulled up lame a little bit at the end of the second quarter, went to the locker room. I pretty much thought right away he might just be done for the day, maybe even the week, honestly. But then he came back into the game to begin the second half. And that kind of surprised me. And I thought that the Hawks were probably just like 100% confident that he was going to be able to go, because otherwise, why would you risk him? He's already signed the contract. It's Summer League, whatever. But he played. I was like, all right, that's going to be fine. And then he played about 3 minutes, and then he came out again and then was ruled out with a left hip injury. So we don't know more about that other than just it's the left hip. Hopefully not a season, I should say Summer League altering injury. Even if it is, like, it would not be a surprise to me if they just shut him down out of precaution. Toppin has proven all he needs to prove, honestly. In Summer League, like, he looks like an NBA player. The Hawks have already signed him to a two-way. Nothing really to add on that, but I at least want to note that he might just be out. We'll see. He also could play on Thursday. We don't really know. That's the nature of a Summer League injury reporting. It's pretty light. We don't really find out anything until like near tip-off. For instance, Eli Njai out again in this game was still wearing the left wrist brace that he had on yesterday. He, of course, played very well in the opener and is also on a two-way contract, but he was not available to play, nor was Lamont Butler or Davon Smith or Josh Christopher in this game. That's the first half. We will get in the second half, but the Hawks were down, I would say, the vast majority of the game, including by as many as 16 points in the third quarter, and then things got a lot better and more interesting. We'll get into all of that and more in just one moment. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the greens, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling for yourself? You can use FanDuel to track all your favorite matchups and keep the activities fresh all the time as well, with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. They have offerings across sports betting space, from over-unders to point spreads, money lines, game props, future bets, player props, live betting, and same-game parlays all in one place. Plus, they have every single sport and league that you can think of at FanDuel Sportsbook as well. That, of course, includes the NBA, which we talk about all the time on this podcast, plus the NFL, MLB, college sports, NHL, UFC, golf, tennis, soccer, boxing, and everything in between. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and they make regular season games feel like must-watch events at FanDuel. Whether placing the same parlay or just watching a bet ride in the ninth inning in baseball, they make you feel like you're part of the action at FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, if you're a new customer, bet $5 and just get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins at FanDuel. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, so the second half was certainly interesting and worthy of discussion. The Hawks were down by 2 points in the final minute of the first half. And then the Rockets scored the final bucket of the first half and the first 11 points of the third quarter. So it was actually a 13-0 run over about 3 minutes by Houston to go up by 15 points. The Hawks missed their first 4 shots of the third quarter. They missed 3 free throws in a row. That was all Ace and Newell. They were down as many as 16 points in the third, and they came back to win this game in overtime. A big part of that was Kobe Bufkin in the third quarter. So Bufkin had a very rough first half. He was not particularly good. He owned that after the game, talked about turnovers, fouls, etc. Did not play particularly well in the first half. In the second half, he was very good. And a lot of that was the third quarter. So he had a personal 8-0 run in about a minute in the third to go from the lead being 16 down to 8. He had a 3, and then he got in the lane and scored, and another 3 on 3 possessions in a row. Then the Hawks went, as part of that, on a 13-2 overall run. He accounted for all 13 points. He scored 11 of them and then assisted on a dunk by Junior Joseph. So he was dominant for about 3 minutes there on offense, and that keyed what became the biggest part of the comeback. It wasn't done then, but that was a huge, huge factor to getting the Hawks back into the game. There was a little bit of a waiver after that when they were playing without a point guard for a while with Bufkin and Flagler on the bench, but it stabilized a little bit from there. There was a massive dunk by Durisic, who was good in this game. And then McVay went crazy for the second time. He had 21 points on his first 10 shots in this game. That's actually where he ended the game, but he was very, very productive as a scorer. He hit 2 threes in a short period of time to go from the Hawks being down by 6 to being down by 1 with like 4 minutes to go. That was fun to watch from McVay. They played Newell at center again in crunch time. That's been the case in all 3 games. He was really good late. He had a big offensive rebound late in the fourth quarter. Hit a 3 that tied the game at the end of regulation. That was a big shot after he actually cooled off compared to the game yesterday. He was 1 of 4, but the one make was a big one in this game. And then also had a nice driving layup for the lead with under a minute to go after a nice steal by Adam Flagler. Houston had a pretty tough 3 actually to give them the lead. Then McVay got caught in the baseline, turned it over. The Hawks had a foul, and suddenly they're actually down by 3. It was like, oh, they're probably going to lose this game now. But then Durisic managed to get his defender off balance and draw a 3-shot foul with a chance to tie the game. Afterwards, Kobe Bufkin was kind of joking with him about this. I'm not sure it was the right call. It was not a crazy call. He sold it. He pump fake, got him in the air, leaned in, made the right play, and crucially made all 3 at the line to tie the game. And the Rockets had a chance to win it in regulation. They missed badly at the buzzer, and then that led to Summer League overtime, which is always a entertaining proposition. It's a 2-minute period in Las Vegas, and it was action-packed. So Bufkin scored right away to give the Hawks the lead, and then the Rockets answered. Newell made some free throws after a nice pick and roll with Durisic. The Hawks forced a jump ball defensively, and then still, though, the Rockets tied the game. Bufkin got to the line, split the free throws. His one miss of the entire week, actually, was that missed free throw right there, but they were still up by 1 point. Then Houston missed a 3 so badly that it led to a crazy loose ball that Newell got called for a foul diving for the ball in open space. But then Houston missed both free throws. And then, after a mad scramble, the Hawks did not get the rebound, which was a bad beat there. But Houston called timeout, which was a bad idea. I think even after the game, I think some of the Hawks guys were like, why did they call timeout? It was interesting, but they did. So the Hawks had to play defense now, up by 1, with 6 seconds to go. And then the craziest thing of the entire day happened. The Rockets threw the inbounds pass into the basket from out of bounds, and it was not touched. And if you know the rule, you cannot score without the ball being touched on an inbounds pass. It's a violation, and it's a turnover. So the Hawks get the ball at that point in time. So they're now in total control. There were some fans in the building celebrating, which I thought was funny, but it's one of those weird rules. It's a violation. Hawks get the ball. They get the ball into the backcourt. Bufkin gets fouled with 4.8 to go. This time he makes both. They go up by 3, and then they fade a flail at the end to tie the game, and the Hawks come out victorious. So it was madness. It was very Summer League. I made fun of it in real time. It was scattered. It was everything you would want from a Summer League basketball game. But there was still some good stuff along the way. Individually in this game, some highlights here. I won't go through the entire roster necessarily, but I thought Newell got better as the game went along. He still has to add strength for sure. That's been a theme for all 3 games, but he played very well at the end. He's still active defensively. Some mistakes for sure. I thought he looked like he was a guy who was young in this game, not in an offensive way, like a normal way for a 19-year-old guy who's kind of getting his feet wet still in the NBA. But just some moments of being a rookie, but he got better and more physical and more assertive as the game went along, and had some big moments in the fourth quarter. Toppin was really good before he got injured. 12 points, 4 rebounds in 15 minutes for him. Durisic was good. 16 points, 7 assists, only 1 turnover. Like, he was in control. Only took 1 3. That's one thing that I'm actually hearing about from people around the league, is like they're a little bit worried about his 3-point shooting, which I share that worry, honestly. But the mid-range game has been very interesting. He's been able to break the paint. That was a theme post-game from Brian Bailey and also from Durisic himself, like trying to get into the paint. He's been able to do that regularly, which definitely matters a lot. He has some good control, some good craft getting into the lane and finishing, and has the good size, of course, to lean on. He's not a great athlete, but certainly when you're 6'7", that definitely helps quite a bit. Elsewhere, off the bench, I mentioned before, but Junior Joseph was good in this game. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal and a block off the bench. He was very, very solid. I hope the Hawks sign him to College Park. Flagler played fine, 5 points, 2 assists for him, had a steal and a block, and was +9 in 20 minutes. Jack White was more of a fringe guy today, but played a little bit. McVay was awesome. I said before, with 21 points, 10 field goals. So he hit 4 threes. He was 4-4 on 2s. Defensively, he competed. He's not great, but he was competitive. It's a reminder, like I said this on the show with Glenn, Like, he was on two-way last year with Houston. Like, he's a real, like, NBA level player. It's just that he's old. He's 29 and he's limited athletically, but he can shoot. He's got good size. He's a real player. And then we'll end with Bufkin. A weird game for Kobe. So, like, on Sunday, people were mad at me. It's fine. I don't think that Kobe played terribly at all on Sunday. He shot terribly on Sunday, which he said, which Bailey said, they all said. Today, I thought he didn't play that well, and he shot well. So he got better as the game went along. The first half today was the worst he's been, in my opinion, as an overall player. He made a bunch of mistakes. He owned them after the game, but certainly it was like, whoa, this is not going well at all in the first half. But then he got hot in that third quarter, ends up with 25 points on 18 shooting possessions, which is really good efficiency-wise. He hits 4 threes, 4 of 8 from 3. He was 4 of 7 on 2s, got to the line 6 times. He's 5 of 6. He is now 24 of 25 at the line this week. Like, he was in control there, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. The turnovers were the problem. He had 9 turnovers. That's way too many. It's the first thing he said in post-game. Like, it was obviously a problem. You don't want to have that happen. But I will say, he only had 2 total turnovers in the first 2 games. So, like, it's not really been a problem to this point. So it might be a one-game blip. We'll see. I was kind of surprised he played, honestly. Not shocked, but I thought he might sit on the back-to-back, being the third-year guy, etc. But the Hawks, he was certainly a huge in helping them to win the game. He had the best plus-minus of any of the starters. He was on the court for that whole big run with the bench in the second half, and I thought he played really well in the second half. First half, not as much for sure, but balanced it out and led the team in scoring with 25 points in the game. All right, that's all I have on the Summer League stuff. We'll have more of that, I promise you, as the week goes along. They have at least one more game, which we'll hit on at the end of the podcast. First, though, it will have a story about Al Horford, a little bit of buzz there after a word from our partners. Today's show is brought to you by Hungryroot. Let's be honest, meal planning and grocery shopping can be overwhelming for you. Between busy schedules, being a picky eater perhaps, and trying to eat healthy, it can be a lot. And that's why I love using Hungryroot. They take all the stress out of planning by filling your cart for you with personalized groceries and meal options based on what you like and what you need. Hungryroot uses their smart cart technology to recommend groceries, recipes, and even supplements tailored to your own personal preferences. Whether you're dairy-free, gluten-free, gut health focused, or just trying to eat healthy and better, Hungryroot has you covered across the board. What I love most is that I don't actually have to shop forever at grocery stores or stress about what I'm going to have for dinner that night. With Hungryroot, it's already figured out for me. It saves me so much time, and that is massive for people that are on the go like I am. And you can take advantage right now of an exclusive offer for a limited time. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. The code is LockedOnNBA. Get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. All right, and I got a lot of questions about this during the day on Monday, so I feel like I'll talk about it a little bit on a segment at the end of the show. But Mark Spears of ESPN and Anscape had a TV segment. It was not written. It was not reported out. It was a TV mention, but it made the rounds. It got clipped, and I get why. On Monday on TV, that the Hawks are among the teams with interest in old friend Al Horford. Now, I know why it made the rounds. It's a murmur in the overall dead silence that's been free agency lately. I mentioned this over the weekend on the show, but it has been extremely quiet around the league the last 4 or 5 days. Very little movement, signings, any of that stuff. There's been a widespread thought around the league and in Vegas that Horford is probably going to go to Golden State, but it hasn't happened yet, so we're all holding our breath on that one. Boston would have been a logical return for him, but of course Boston's kind of in a different spot now, post-Porzingis trade, post-Drew Holiday trade, post-Tatum injury, all of that. I know I can report, I think with some confidence, the Hawks have at least called on Al Horford, and they absolutely should make that call. I mentioned that, if you're a listener, probably back to like May or June, like, hey, Al's a free agent. We should call on him. He probably won't come, but you should at least call. He's still a good player. I'd make him a standing offer. I would say, hey, this is just here for you if you want to sign it. Hope he signs it. I will say people here again believe Golden State's the favorite for him. I would also think that he probably would have a few more teams. This is more of a guess now, ahead of the Hawks, if I had to guess, because of a bigger role, honestly. If it's me, like big picture, if I'm Al Horford, I'm 39 years old, I'm probably thinking I'm either want to be like on a clear contending team, like a Thunder level contender, clearly, or I want to have a pretty big role. And the Hawks are not really either of those teams. I know the Hawks are going to be good this year. I think they are going to be good. And we'll get into that a lot more as the summer goes along. but they're not quite on that like definite 60-win kind of little team that Cleveland is or that Golden State is. And Cleveland just got Larry Nance in the same role, by the way. But Atlanta, like he would play. I mean, like I just said, I mean, very clear. If I'm the Hawks, if I'm Auntie Soleil, I am definitely calling Al Horford and saying, Al, we'd love to have you. Come back, come on home. Like he's not actually from here, but he spent, of course, a lot of time here. Had a weird exit 9 years ago. I get that, but it wasn't like people are still mad at him, and I get that. He's a polarizing figure. But the Hawks did not treat him very well in that negotiation, and I think the Hawks looked silly for that. He's still playing at a high level 9 years later. And the Hawks also went and got Dwight Howard, which was I would say catastrophe is the word I'll use. But anyway, putting all that to the side, maybe he wants to come back and finish his career where he started. He is 39, but he's still very good and very versatile and great in the locker room, respected guy. It's also been proven repeatedly in Boston that he works very well with Porzingis. I think he could play with Porzingis. He could play with Okongwu. He could play with Jalen at center. Like he could play with any combination. He can still shoot. He can still defend. He isn't like the biggest guy in the world, but certainly Al would be a home run if the Hawks could get him. So I don't think if I had to guess right now, I would say they probably don't get him because I think he'll have another offer that he prefers. But as far as like, is it possible? Yes. Have the Hawks called on him? Yes. I don't know is the answer on like how seriously he's taking the Hawks as an option. That's what I would say. I'm confident in a few things. They should call. They have called. Whether he actually wants to come up for debate, we'll have to see. But that's my kind of short synopsis on the Al Horford front. But it came up today, so I want to at least answer that question. And yeah, I mean, he's arguably, as far as like the most impactful player for this coming season that's still a free agent, he might be it. Like there are guys who are younger who will get paid a lot of money more than him, like your Josh Giddey's, Kuminga, or whatever. But I think Horford's the best current like impact player of all those guys still right now. Maybe Chris Paul similar to that at the point guard position, but yeah, come on home, Al. It'd be very fun in some ways, but we'll see. Last thing on the show, the Hawks now have 2 scheduled off days. They will not play again until Thursday. That's their 4th and final of these scheduled games in Vegas. It's actually a 6:00 Eastern time game, 3:00 p.m. local in Vegas. Their latest game so far against Memphis. They will have at least one more after that. We will not know until it is over when that game will be. If the Hawks win their 4th game, they could definitely be in the championship round. So at the end, if they go 4-0, if there are more than 4 teams that go 4-0, it comes down to point differential. But the top 4 teams of 30 make it to the semifinals of the actual Summer League tournament. If the Hawks win on Thursday, they will have a really good chance to be in the Final Four, which would mean they play at least 1 more, maybe even 2 more games. But we'll have to see. We will not know when the 5th game is until at least Thursday night. So stay tuned for that. I'll have a show, as I always would, post-game on Thursday about all of what transpires. I'll be heading home in the meantime between those 2 things. I have a funeral to attend later on this week, so I'll be going home, but I'll be watching along with everybody else from Atlanta. But anyway, stay tuned for that. We'll have full coverage, as we always do, from Las Vegas and when I'm back at home, obviously. So please subscribe to the podcast anywhere you find your podcast. Just search Locked On Hawks, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, etc. Follow the show on Twitter/X at Locked On Hawks. Follow me there at BT Rowland. Follow my Blue Sky at BT Rowland. And then follow my non-podcast coverage of the Hawks at patreon.com/BT Rowland. All right, everybody, enjoy your Monday evening into Tuesday, and we'll see you all next time.